said to be the place of at least 10 murders, with a reported 12 spirits haunting the land. From vengeful entities to ghosts reliving their final moments on Earth, Myrtle's plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is not for the faint of heart. If you have ever been intrigued by ghost stories and haunted locations, I am sure you have heard of the sinister history of the place. Today we will dissect the history of ghosts and look at what makes the place so fascinating and keeps the spirits around. The most famous ghost said to haunt the house is a young slave girl named Chloe, who was hung after trying to poison the family of the house. Big question is why? Was it because she was mistreated, or did she resent the family for other reasons? There are two different theories on this. One is that Chloe was forced by Clark Woodruff, the owner of the plantation at that time, to be his lover, and this went on for several years. It was either given to the man's desires or be punished by being made to work even harder out in the blistering heat. Unfair and disgusting behaviour from the man, but let's continue. It seems after a while she became concerned that his wife Sarah Woodruff would find out about the relationship. Now here is where the story can differ. She is said to have started to listen in on private conversations between the Woodruffs to see if she was being discussed. The other tale states that no affair happened at all, just that she was nosy and enjoyed hearing the gossip from the couple. Either way, she was discovered listening in, and the punishment was quite severe. Clark Woodruff ordered that for her crime, she should have one of her ears cut off in penance. I'm sure you can imagine that this didn't go down too well with young Chloe, and she became ashamed of her appearance, so covered up her ear under a green turban. In an act of vengeance, Chloe is said to have baked a cake with reduced and boiled extracts of the toxic oleander leaves in it, but only Sarah Woodruff and her daughters were said to have eaten it and died from the poisoning. Clark and his son avoided the same fate, lucky for them. Fearing any kind of retaliation, the other slaves on the plantation made the decision to resolve the situation on their own by hanging Chloe from a neighbouring tree. They then dismembered her body and threw it into the Mississippi River. The spirits of Sarah and her daughters have been witnessed numerous times, haunting the mirrors inside the house, and sometimes even leaving a handprint behind. Spooky as hell if you ask me, especially as some visitors to the house have claimed to have taken photos of this. Now there are no actual official records of the Woodruffs owning any slaves, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have people working on the land for them. Either way, there are many reports of a woman fitting Chloe's description, including green turban, roaming the grounds of the plantation. Another spirit that met a tragic end is William Winter, whose family owned the plantation for more than 10 years in 1871. It is said that a man named E.S. Weber shot William on the porch of the home. Now, while trying to escape, or many believe, trying to reach his wife, he dragged himself away from the scene and up the steps to the first floor. Sadly, he died on the 17th step. Visitors to the house have heard and seen his heartbreaking demise as he crawls up the stairs before pausing at step number 17. His final gasping breaths are heard too. I'm not sure I could cope with witnessing something so horrible. Now, to add to the intrigue of the place, the plantation was built on an Indian burial ground. There have been sightings of a young Native American woman haunting the land. It seems locals have even reported strange occurrences too. There is said to be a large, human-sized bloodstain on one of the walls of the property, which cannot be removed. Cleaners have even had difficulty moving their brooms or mops over that area when attempting to clean it. Also, during the Civil War, the house was looted by Union soldiers, where it is said 3 of them died and have been seen wandering the house. Now, we mentioned earlier that 10 murders had happened in the house over the years. Now, there have been incidents on the land, as we've discussed, but evidence would suggest that Sarah Woodruff and her daughters didn't die from the poisoning. Not to say the act didn't happen, just that no one perished from it, except poor Chloe. Apparently, Sarah Woodruff and one of her daughters died from yellow fever, which at the time was quite common, and another daughter died when she was a young adult. Today, the plantation is run as a bed and breakfast, and visitors are encouraged to take photos of anything unusual that they witness. In 1992, one such visitor managed to take a photograph of Chloe's ghost. When trying to obtain insurance for the property, the current owner took a picture. 3 years later, when a researcher sought to use the image for a postcard, it was noticed that a young girl had been photographed, shrouded in shadows. At the time the picture was taken, no one had been around, so who is the ghostly figure. As you can see, there is so much history attached to the house and the land that it's not surprising. Bloodshed and grief have etched their mark there to this day. This is a place that would be fascinating to visit, as it truly is one of America's most spooky places. If you've visited this house, please let me know in the comments below of your experiences.